Good.
Okay, let's see if we show up here. Hold on. Oop. Oop, waiting for it. Hey everyone, sorry, I'm just waiting to make sure it's live. Oop, I think we are. Yep. Okay. Hey everyone, welcome to our awesome FaRoFeb interview with Juliette Cross tonight. Oh my gosh, Juliette, I'm so excited you're here.
Thank
This
you.
is amazing. Harriet, thank you so much for setting this all up for us. We're so happy to have you and for all that you did. I mean, I actually have a quick question for you before we do this. Is like, where did this idea come from and how long did it take to put this all together? Like, this is amazing.
Yeah, sure. So I obviously read and write in the genre and love it. And I think, and I'm in a couple of reader groups and have other friends that read in the genre. And, I think a lot of times it's hard to find, once you've read like the big couple of names in the genre, it's not always that obvious where you go next. And the reader groups are saying the same thing. People just going, I've read this awesome book and now like, what do I read next? And it's, it's hard to find new reads. And then I went on to like Amazon and Barnes and Noble and thought, it's like, maybe it's just me, maybe I'm just not searching for these properly. And it's really hard. There's no, fantasy romance isn't really categorized very well. And where it is categorized, everything's just jumbled into one big mess. So you can't tell how much romance is in the book and, and paranormals and with epics and with time travel, it's a big mess. So it's really hard to find what you're looking at and to find, if I love Juliette's books, for example, where do I find the next book, the next Wolf Gone Wild, for example. And I think we're probably on a long road to get to somewhere better. But I just thought, I know there are loads of awesome authors out there. I know there are loads of readers out there. Sarah J. Maas and Jennifer Elmentrout have really proven that there is a huge audience for this kind of material. And I just thought, it's so frustrating that we can't put the authors and the readers together. And I thought, well, we could. So I thought, why don't we do that?
Smart girl.
Yeah, I love it.
And I started contacting authors in December. So I came up with the idea in December and just started reaching out to people. And all the authors were really responsive and like really keen to get involved. And that was super awesome and made my life really easy. So originally I just thought, oh, well, even if we just do an author spotlight every day, get people to share some stuff, that's a step forward from where we are today. But because all the authors came on so quickly and were like, yeah, great, let's do it, I then could be like, okay, well, we've got all these people. What else could we do other than just the author spotlights? And then I started reaching out to YouTubers like you and, and to various other people and libraries. And it all just kind of snowballed from there, really. So it was a pretty manic, like December, January to get it all set up. But yeah.
I think you've done a great job for the first year. I think there's been a really great response so far,
Yeah. And I think people, and more people are still finding out about it and still, more people getting involved. And
yeah. What's going to happen is like March or April, people are going to be like, what's FaRoFeb again? And go back to February and look at some of the things that was going on. And I just have to say, I see Justin and them are in the comments. Yes, that's Betty in the background, you guys. Like, and thank you, Ashley. She is pretty. She was crying at the door. I was trying to keep her out to be all like professional and stuff, but she wouldn't have it. So anyway, so Betty is sitting. She likes to sit here when I'm writing and stuff. So
I'm literally sitting on my floor with my cozy blanket and it's cool.
I'm like wrapping up because it's so cold.
Oh yes, very cold right now.
We don't want to talk about how cold it is.
Yeah. We're so cold in here in the lower like 30 degrees. I know it's like way colder where you are, Jen.
Let's not start dick measuring for how cold it is.
Yeah, Louisiana always loses for the cold. Yeah, I get that.
Because it's -8 right now. It was -20 when I woke up, so we won't.
Yes, Justin and Betty is super needy. Oh gosh, look at her.
Yeah.
So shall I just say what FaRoFeb is quickly before I leave?
Yeah. It was good to chat because now people are showed up. So tell us what we're here in the middle of right now.
Yeah, so I just wanted to hijack the beginning of this interview with between Jenn and Juliette, just to say hi, say thank you for being part of FaRoFeb, and to say a little bit about what FaRoFeb is. So FaRoFeb is a month-long celebration of the fantasy romance genre, where we've got a whole load of stuff going on. Obviously, we're in the middle. There's still loads more to come, and you can check out our Instagram account to see what we've done already. Every day we've got an author spotlight with a different fantasy romance author. Juliette is one of our fabulous authors, along with loads of other awesome fantasy romance authors. So definitely check out everyone that is taking part. We've also got author interviews like this one. We've got a couple of panel events. We've created 2 original micro stories, especially for FaRoFeb. There are giveaways, there are polls, there's all kind of stuff going on. And if you haven't checked it out yet, then you should. And we'd love to have you with us. And check out all of the authors and read their books and leave reviews. And hopefully we can cast more of a spotlight on the genre generally and help grow it into an even bigger thing than it already is. So
yeah. Thanks so much for setting this up, Harriet. I mean, it's funny. I was telling her before she got on, Juliette, that I hadn't talked to you yet when she asked me who I wanted to interview. And then I was like, oh, I'd love to talk to Juliette. That'd be funny. And later, Justin was like, here, you're in spoilers for this book. Talk to Juliette. So, blew past her in a series we were reading. So we were like, Justin, just go over there while we talk about
Awesome. I will leave you guys to it, but thank you so much. And I'll look forward to listening to the rest on the other side.
All right.
Thank you, Harriet.
Oh boy. Wow.
I'm terrified. Terrified. Yeah, Jenn. Okay.
So we're going to start this out nice and light and play a little round of Fuck, Marry, Kill. Which was spoiled because I couldn't keep it to myself. But everybody was sneaky, and I asked Juliette to send me a list of her favorite books, not telling her what I was going to do. And so I went through them, and I picked out, we have 5 different sets of this. So I picked out characters from those books that we're going to torture you a little bit, and then just kind of lighten it up, and then we'll go through some of the questions that everyone has sent for you. So, you ready for this?
No, I'm not, but let's do it anyway. To kill some of my favorite characters is just like, you're horrible, but okay, I'm here for it.
Don't worry, I could be mean, like I'm going to be to Sarah McLean and put characters from your own books in, but I didn't do that.
Oh,
so.
yeah.
I was like, I won't be that bitch who does
that. Would have been really cruel. Okay, I feel okay now.
Okay, all right. Well, we're going to start with a set of changelings. So we have Hawk, Judd, and Riley.
Oh my god!
That's horrible already. So for everyone watching, these are changelings from, changelings inside.
Okay, this is dreadful. And I'm gonna say, okay, so I think I would marry Hawk. I think I would fuck Riley and kill Judd. Oh my god, my heart. Judd, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. This is terrible.
So I would probably so this is of this set, this is I think there's only 2 sets that I can actually play because I don't know who the others. I would probably just switch Judd, and I would probably marry Hawk. Fuck
you
Riley.
Have to marry Hawk.
Yeah.
You have to marry Hawk. I mean, come on. He's the alpha. Like,
I mean, God.
Yes. Such the caregiver. But so, yeah. I don't know. But Riley, that opening scene of Branded by Fire, and Riley's like, how do you want it? You know, and she's like, hard. It's like, oh, yeah.
All the ways. I want it all the ways, Riley.
Yes, exactly. Okay. Thank you.
I'm like, all right. So here's the next one.
Oh Jesus!
This is Caleb from Sun Changeling, Maddox from A Heart of Blood and Ashes, and Oz from Wolf Song. I feel so bad.
This is the worst game in the fucking world. Okay. Oh God. All right. I'm gonna say Okay, is it bad that I'm thinking of, I don't know, Ox would be my first instinct to marry, but then we'd never have sex because he's gay. So like, what's the point? So maybe I should kill Ox, maybe.
Maybe don't make that statement on a video.
Yeah.
So no, I'm just kidding.
All right, so I think I'm gonna have to fuck Caleb, marry Ox, and kill Matic.
Yes.
I don't know. Yeah. Even though
Evan says this.
I know. So I'm gonna marry Ox. I'll just,
Ox.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, I know. I mean, come on. Ox would be like the nurturer. I could just like use my dildos, so
Or you'd end up having a Nathan situation over time, and he would fall in love with your soul. There's that.
That's true. Yeah, maybe he's more pansexual than actually gay.
We're getting weird with this.
We're getting really weird. This is getting way out there.
Because now we have Joe from
Holy moly.
From Heart of Fire, and Connor Rogan from Seven Waters. This one I don't know,
wait, Connor Rogan from the Seven Waters trilogy?
Yes.
I was thinking that was Mad Rogan. No, that's Mad Rogan, right?
So I don't know this because I haven't read the book. So I just had to go through descriptions and pick a man.
Okay, so for the Seven Waters from Son of Shadows, that's Bran. That was the guy I listed. So he's not here. And which Joe is this? I'm confused. Now
this is Joe from Wolfsong.
Oh, from Wolfsong. Duh.
Yeah, okay. Joe from Wolfsong. See, I didn't put them in the same question because that was
right. Okay, so I'm gonna marry. That's Mad Rogan. I'm definitely marrying Mad Rogan. Like fucking marrying him. Yes, 100%. I would have to, I guess, if Joe is willing, I would fuck Joe. And then, and then, because I don't know if Joe would be willing. But then Griffin, I'm so sorry.
You would kill Griffin?
I don't know. This is hard. You want me to kill Joe instead?
Promise apart. I mean, over Griffin, who's just like, he's so great. No.
Okay, all right. So maybe it would be, I know. Crystal, like, seriously, this is terrible. This is the worst. This is awful.
Well, I got we're going to keep going. We just have 2 more of these, and then we'll get on to... See, the questions coming after this will nowhere near be as hard as this. See, I'm really...
I'll be like, piece of cake.
These again are 3 that I don't know, so I hope I didn't, because I had to pick ones I don't know. So this is Raphael from Angel's Blood.
Yeah.
Blade from Kiss of Steel, and Jericho from Dark Fever. I think I did that right.
Jericho Barons. Oh, Lord. Oh, okay. So, I would marry Raphael for sure from the Guild Hunter series. And he's like literally an angel, but like an alpha fucking fine angel. So that's 100% Jericho. Fuck him all day long. Barons. Yes. Please and thank you. Karen Marie Monty, and I'm afraid Blade would get cut. Yeah. So sorry, Bet McMaster. I'd have to kill Blade.
All right. Good. Okay, so last one. This one is Bones from Night Huntress, Lucas from Side Changeling, and Brishan from Radiance. I love Lucas.
I know.
I like Brishan too now after reading that though.
So I think you have them in the right order. I think Bones I would fuck, Lucas I would marry, and Brishan I would kill. So
fair. Yeah. I would totally marry the alpha of the pack, like 100%.
Yes, 100%.
He's just so loving and supportive, and like seeing him with the kids is enough to make me marry him. I'm like, like one of the first intros to him where he's playing with the cubs, like that whole scene at the table where the cubs fighting her shoe. I was like, oh.
Yeah, Julian and Roman. Oh my God, I love that, and I just love how he's like so alpha but playful, with her. I don't know. That book is so good. That's a reread for me a lot.
Crystal.
Smart woman, Crystal.
Mary Lucas, Bones Conversion. Yeah.
Ooh. Yeah.
Ambition. Love it. I love it. Okay. All right. So now we're going to hop into, so these are just questions that everyone sent us. Some of them are, Jesson sent a bunch of questions. Some of those are nice and some of them aren't so nice.
Thanks, Jess.
Said, why is Jesson your favorite niece? And why is he so great? I was like, maybe
I think it's pretty obvious, but I'll tell you if you need me to.
No, I think I figured it out. But let's kind of start. Before I dive into these, though, I actually haven't heard like how you really started your writing career and how it went. I just know a little bit that you've showed me of like when you were your writing process of them. But let's maybe put that out for people who are new to you and maybe anything.
Well, I mean, I don't want to go too far back, but I can definitely tell you, like, I actually majored in English with a creative writing option. So I had sort of a concentration in creative writing. I've always been drawn to it, even though I ended up becoming a teacher out of college. And I've, had kids, raised my family. And actually, after I had my daughter, I started thinking about writing again, because for a while, my creative outlet was really solely focused on education and teaching. Mm-hmm. And I just had that urge to write again. And so I did. And the first book I wrote was Fortune Fire, which is my Angel and Demon series, the Vessel trilogy. And I just had this like image of this girl arguing with her best friend in the elevator as they're going out for her birthday. And I don't know why that hit me. And so she ends up going, so it's funny. I had this whole, like, I don't know if you call it epiphany or whatever. It's like when you just start getting ideas. And I was driving from where I live in New Iberia to my parents' house in Baton Rouge. It's about an hour and a half. And I remember arriving at my parents' house and I was like, look, I love you guys, but I just had this idea and I need to go write it. So I like went to the back of the house and like wrote the whole like first chapter of the book. And
wow.
And it just, and like the demon hunter Jude showed up. And anyway, it just sort of fell together from there. So it was kind of bizarre because I didn't know how to publish. I didn't know I didn't know anything about indie publishing. I didn't know about what I was supposed to do. And a lot of people I was meeting online were like, well, you really have to get an agent first. Like if you're really going to try to go with a publisher. And I was so green. I honestly did not know what the hell I was doing. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And so I started looking for an agent and that took months. And in the meantime, I had this idea for the Dragon series, which Jesson actually had inspired me a little bit for that as well. Jesson has been an inspiration pretty much through my entire writing career, to be honest. And anyway, now she helps me actually like plan the shit out and plan my whole series. So, but I didn't know what to do, like I said, and I got an agent suddenly. And within the same month, I got an offer for both Nightwing 1 with Kensington and for Fortune Fire for that book deal, which was with Sam Hain. Do you know that publisher? No. I know you've been reading long enough, but they published a lot of like paranormal type authors. Like that was sort of their heavy, was the speculative fiction. And they were amazing. Thanks, Jess. They were amazing. Like, but they ended up going out of business, which is so sad. But so that's where it started. So I published Fortune Fire and Nightwing, and then I just kind of went from there. And since then, I've rolled along with a few small and mid-sized presses, and now I realized I was having doubts, not doubts about publishing or anything, but just the way my career was going. I was publishing a lot, and it was really high stress. I mean, like I remember one year, I wrote 5 or 6 books in the same year, and I still had a day job, and I still had kids to take care of, and my husband really likes me. Like, he really does like me, and he was spending time with me. And he was getting frustrated because I was just so dedicated to the writing, but I was kind of checking out a little bit as mom and wife. And so I had to figure out a balance. And that's when I was really like, I want to just try this for myself. I want to do it on my own. I want to do something totally different than what I've been doing. And I remember going to Jessen, like honestly, I think it was like 2017. I was like, I want to do a brand new series. I want it to be funny, and I want it to be about witches. And so we just sat down, and that's when Stay a Spell was sort of born. And yeah. And so here I am. And that's kind of the, I mean, there's like a whole lot of details that obviously I left out in between, but yeah. So now I'm in a place where I'm very, very content as both writer and balancing with home life and work and stuff. So.
Wow. That's awesome. Let's see what this is. Yeah. So Justin, that was a hard year of writing. It's a lot of pressure with the deadlines. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's one thing that I always wonder about, I feel like where you are at with it, you're going to write better stories if you're actually getting to focus on, instead of I'm trying to push out the deadline. I'm not telling the story that I want to tell. And it's not that you still don't see it. I mean, there's a goal when the third Stay a Spell is supposed to come out, but you're not like crunching in on it or
yeah.
And
I'm giving myself time.
Yeah. That's something I was talking about with Harriet before you came on, is that I feel when I read some traditionally published books or things like where people have those set, whether it's with like an indie press or whatever, where they have it set up, is that it starts to feel like everything is cookie cutter. Yeah. And maybe that's fine for casual readers, but being as someone who reads tons of books, when I get one from a traditionally pub, I'm like, is this book going to offer me anything new that I haven't read 50 times before?
Yeah.
And I've felt that way with some of your books. And I mean, it's not just you. Obviously, we're talking about you today, so you keep pointing out. But you can tell that you have the freedom to kind of do that instead of.
Yeah. And I can totally agree with you there. I know there are certain books that the publisher was really pushing back. I will never forget when I was writing The White Lily, which is the third book in my Vampire Blood series. It's like historical retellings of fairy tales, but with vampires. And I do love that series, but I will never forget my editor telling me, because they would get these QA, these quality assurance reads after the edits, and QA kept saying, well, they think he's too rapey. So you need to cut back on that. And I was like, Friedrich is fucking hot. I don't want to do this. But, they owned the rights to it. I sold them the rights to it. And so I was kind of in a place where, I'm sorry, I'm looking at Jasmine.
I've put stuff up for other people to read, but I know it's distracting.
I can't help it. I'm like, what is Jasmine saying? What is she saying?
I know.
Right. Okay. And I'll never forget. So I'd cut back on Friedrich, and then I saw her at Romantic Times convention when they still had RT, which they did, because you and I would be meeting there. We would be having drinks together, 100%.
Someday.
But I know, tears.
Someday.
One day we will. It's gonna happen somewhere else.
Yeah, it'll happen. Anyway.
Yeah. But I remember seeing my editor, Tara, and I was like, hey, I said, so how was the last edit? She goes, he's still too rapey. And I'm like, still? How much more do you want me to cut back on him? So anyway, it's things like that. I really wanted him to be this super aggressive, and maybe it was a little border dubious consent stuff, but it really wasn't. They were just ultra sensitive, to be honest. I felt like they were being ultra sensitive to the readers, and so yes. So I like doing this now, where the only people who have any say are my beta readers, and even if they say something I don't agree with, I don't have to accept it. I can do whatever I want. And even my editor, who I pay to edit, I mean, she's giving me advice, but again, ultimately it's my book and I can do whatever I want,
Right. It's not going to be withheld from people if you don't do what you want. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. And I can't even tell you. Just like backstory for anyone who's not Jess and Juliette and me. I believe the first book Juliette read because it was directly my influence was Untouchable. And if y'all have read that, you can see why I'm shaking my head when someone told her someone was too rapey.
Look, Friedrich was nowhere near Carter Mahoney.
I know. And that's why I'm like, but it wasn't as bad as Carter Mahoney. So what?
No, not even close. Who's seriously rapey, and I still fell in love with them. So I don't know. You know,
he's kind of rapey.
Yeah, he's that kind of. He is. How did she do that? I still can't figure out how that author made me.
I don't know. So
it's like magic. Yeah.
It just works sometimes. Well, and I even feel like, because there is a middle ground too, because sometimes you're into a book and you just want that. And then there's times where it's like, I just want an alpha who knows what he wants and is going to get it, but is still like, respectful of the person. Like that's when it's a sweet spot for me, is that they still love that woman and want them, but they're also just like, shut up and kiss me sometimes. Like,
yes. I was even thinking, I was doing a comfort read actually last night, and Justin, you were right. Historical romance was the place to go for my comfort read. So the second book in the Lisa Kleypas series, truth. So true. The second book in the Lisa Kleypas series with Lillian and Marcus Westbrook. And I was thinking about his scenes, like even when he's kissing her and she's kind of like pushing him away, he's like, no, don't push me away. He's like telling her, no, don't push me away, you know, open for me. And it's so fucking sexy because she does, but it's not because she's being forced, because she wants to, you know? And so it's like,
isn't that in like a butterfly garden or something?
Yes, girl.
I'm just like, it was so magical. I was like,
that book. I'm just, it's giving me all the, all the feels. It's awesome.
Yeah. Well, I completely agree with what you said about the like comfort read thing, because I've never even read the author before, but I've just been talking about Devil's Bride for a week straight. I'm obsessed with it. And it had the feeling of like, this is giving me everything I want out of a historical romance right now, because then I read a in a row and I was like, me. You just don't do it for me. This is great. It's not that I want an author's edition. So do you have a comment about this?
Say again?
Do you have a comment about this? Which of your books would you change things if you had the opportunity for, and maybe make them more rapey?
Friedrich, for one. I'd put him back the way he was originally. But probably Damiel in Darkest Heart, maybe. He's a reformed demon, if that's possible. He's already aggressive, and he seduces a virgin angel. So yeah, probably. I would probably do a more intense version with him, even though he's already pushy. So but I think I could have pushed the limits more, but again, that was under Entangled. It was written under a publisher, so I know where they won't let me go. Do you know what I'm saying?
Right.
And I can tell you for a fact that, and Jessen knows this, that I actually want to write a darker romance, contemporary romance series that is a little bit edgier. And I never would have considered that with a publisher because they wouldn't allow it, you know? And so that's just, you know, I like to be able to be creative. You know, in the end, I'm always going to have a hero that is 100% wants the safety and care of his heroine.
Right.
And is truly deeply in love and wants what's best for her. But I would like to play with those boundaries more. And I can only do that as an indie author. I can't do that when I'm under a contract, you know?
Yeah. Harriet had a good question here. How much do you think you benefited from building a relationship as a traditionally published author before going indie?
Building a readership as a traditionally published author before going indie. Well, honestly, so this is might shock you, Harriet, but my readership has quadrupled in size since I became an indie author. It did not benefit me. It did not benefit me. The only thing that where I guess I could say the publisher was really doing well for me, and that was when I was with Sam Hain, my Vessel trilogy. And they had even bought the spinoff, which ended up going to Entangled later. And Sam Hain was unbelievable because they had a built-in audience for paranormal romance. Okay. And things were going really, really well. And then they went under. The company went under. And so immediately, I got all the rights back to everything, but I also lost that audience pretty much because it takes a while to kind of switch over. So I tried Entangled, and I don't want to say anything bad about other publishers. I think Entangled does really well with contemporary. I have really good friends, and Naima Simone was with Entangled for a while before she went to Harlequin, and she did really well there. She gained a great audience. But for me, as a paranormal author, it did not help me. It did not help me at all. The only thing that honestly helped, you want to know what really helped me as an author? Spending time on Instagram and meeting Bookstagram people. First of all, I fucking love Instagram because all the Bookstagram people there are like positive and happy, and they want to talk about the books they love. It's kind of a fangirly place, for me, even as a reader, I love getting on there and talking about books I love not just like, promoting my own or whatever. But that was probably a game changer for me as an indie, finding, I guess my audience, Right. So I know that sounds really strange to say that. I'm not saying that traditional publishing did not help me at all. I think they did. I learned a lot of hard lessons. Being under contract, still wanting my rights back from certain books. Right. But I feel like I'm doing much better on my own.
Yeah. This is something that Justin's mentioned to me before, that publishers pick and choose which authors they will market. And if they don't market you, then the contract usually isn't beneficial because the author ends up having to do the marketing anyway.
It's 100% true. I have friends with St. Martin's Press, with, the big 5 publishers in New York, and they are scrambling just as hard as I am as an indie author. And yet they're getting a third of their profits that I'm getting, so I'm kind of like, you're making a big gamble when you sign one of those contracts because there's no guarantee, like Justin said, that they're actually even going to get behind you. If they do, that's awesome, but if they don't, and this is where sometimes I think it's funny because I'll see, sometimes there's like great books that are traditional published, like The Hating Game, and The Kiss Quotient. And those deserved every bit of promotion they got. But then I see other books that have like a cute little trendy cover and a cute little trendy idea. And then I read the book and I'm like, this is bad. This is boring. Like, I don't even like this. I've read a million other books that don't deserve the kind of attention this book is getting, the kind of hype this book is getting. And I'm sure you've experienced that because you're a much broader reader than I am, so.
Yep. I was just bitching about it earlier today because I was taking a break from dark romance and some historical romance because I was like, I'm going to read a couple of my arcs that are contemporary romance. And one of them made me super ragey because I could, from the first chapter, I knew everything that was happening in this book from the first chapter. And I'm like, and again, it's an author who puts out a book every other month. So it's like, the other one was a traditionally published one that I really liked, but it ended up being kind of like intense and not sad, but like, so I was like, oh, well, this didn't lighten my mood. Like, I'm going to go back and finish A Rake's Vow, which was great because Dane was wonderful. So that's really interesting. Okay, let's get into some of the fun questions now. This is all, guys, keep putting questions in. I just have some that people already sent us on Instagram. So let's kind of go through those. So some of these are just fun. So do you have a ritual before you start writing?
Not before I start writing, but I have playlists that I depend on, and it depends on my mood. But I have 3 different playlists I go between right now on Pandora, and I have to have the music playing. Almost as soon as the music's playing, my mind will like engage with the story, which is weird. But yeah, true. So I would say that's it.
Do you ever hear the songs in the wild and then be like, start thinking about the story? It comes on the radio.
Not exactly. Sometimes I'll be, usually when I'm in my car, I'm either talking to Jessen or I'm talking to you, or I'm listening to a podcast or something or an audiobook. But every now and then I'll want to think about my characters because I want to think about the next scene. So I'll put on my playlist in the car and I'll just imagine, what I'm going to be writing next when I get home or whatever.
Nice. We're just going through these. So I'm going to jump around. What is the biggest challenge you have come across when writing? Writing challenge. Sorry, I'm dyslexic today. What is the biggest writing challenge you have come across?
Well, besides when I get to sex scenes, I usually come to a screeching halt. It's like you're writing, and then they're getting down and dirty, and you're like, okay. Look, how many sex scenes have you read in a book? And it's like, some are like, oh my God, I've seen this 1,000 times. But the way they write it, there's something about it that makes it a little bit more special, a little bit more different, And so I'm always pushing myself to try to write the sex scenes to get all the emotion in that I want, because I need that emotion between my characters. When I'm reading, that's what I want. So when I'm writing, that's what I want. So I would say that is a challenge. The other big challenge for me, it's not in the writing itself, but in the editing. I've gotten into places where I've had to rewrite like a third of the book, and that's painful to like cut, a month's worth or more of words and then write another month or so more. That actually happened with Don't Hex and Drive. Originally I had the paranormal plot wasn't quite working the way I had originally wrote it. So I realized it was going to be a long edit. And so that can be really frustrating, but also necessary. And then Jessen always reminds me, like, Alona Andrews has done this shit all the time where they originally say they're going to release a book and they're like, we can't, they don't say it sucks, but they're basically like, it didn't work. We're rewriting it, And so, those are sort of the ups and downs. The challenge for me comes in those moments where I'm just like, oh my God, I fucking messed up. I got to start all over. This isn't working, And so it's daunting because you want to be excited about the story, but at the same time, it's like, this needs to be fixed or it's never going to be right,
Sure. What is a trope you will never write?
Reverse harem. It'll never happen.
Will you write a menage ever, though? Have we interested yet? No.
No. Not unless it's just like a kinky scene, but I will never write a throuple.
She won't do it, guys.
Sorry.
Every bit I had to get her to read the Blood Alliance throuple.
And I really love that one. And so I don't even know what's going on because I loved that couple, but I still felt like the guys had more of a relationship than with her. Like I still was feeling like it takes a very special writer to write a throuple that actually does it for me. And even the ones that I like, I'm still like, it would have been better if they would have just let her go and been by themselves. Like those two guys would have had a better relationship.
Tiffany said this about your characters.
And I tell you, the scene between Devraj and Isadora was everything. Look, Devraj was like, y'all. Thank you. That's Tiffany, right?
It's Tiffany.
Thank you, Tiffany.
Oh, look at people saying nice things, Juliette. They love you. That's Carrie. Carrie, you're so sweet.
Thank you.
Yes, you did like that scene.
I fucking loved it, Jessen, and you're right. But you know why? Because they weren't that was like, it was a kink scene. It wasn't a couple scene.
Yeah.
And so I'm going to challenge myself to write a kink menage scene at some point because I like to challenge myself. But
just a scene.
Right. Just like, let's bring so-and-so in. He's a good friend, or whatever. But, oh, thank you, Crystal. I love those two. Yeah, it was. Justin's right. I was super anxious about Don't Hex and Drive not meeting expectations after Wolf Gone Wild. And I was pleasantly surprised that a lot of people said they loved it more than book one. So I'm anxious to see what people will think about Witches Get Stitches.
Ooh.
Yeah, I love this book. I fucking love this book so much. I cannot wait. I can't wait.
I'm interested to see how much nastiness infected Nico. I'm pretty.
Oh yeah, Nico's hardcore in bed, y'all. So
okay, let's keep it. Well, since we're talking about that, we have a couple of these.
She's kind of based on me. It's a little Evie's a little autobiographical. Her personality, this sort of like fun-loving dork, is me, who loves Star Wars and is in love with Deadpool. By the way, if you'll see, oh wait, where is it? Over behind me, I can't even point right. That's Deadpool. That's Wolverine. These are all like some of my husband's like prints he's gotten at Comic-Con and stuff. He's making his way across the wall, he told me. I'm like, oh great. I'm sure readers will love seeing that shit in the background. But anyway, yeah, Evie was loosely based on me. I don't read comic books though. My husband does, so I pulled a little bit from him for that. So yeah.
How many Stay a Spell books are there going to be?
There will be 6, with potential spin-offs. Yeah, there's going to be 6. Every sister will get a book and Stay a Spell 100%. And I'm already thinking of spin-offs. Actually, this book made me think of another spin-off. I'm like, oh shit. I don't think I even told Justin. But we've got this type of werewolves, y'all.
Yeah, I'm in for it. Yes, so I just Tiffany just read Soulfire the other day.
Oh, delicious.
I love him. Oh my gosh. So this is where I was like nerding out with Jess, and I want to know what Justin thinks now. Sorry that I'm asking Justin this, but after having read Aquamap, I was like, do you see why I thought she had read Sarah J. Maas before? Because I was like, oh my gosh, Lucius is my perfect Daddy Reese all over again. So I was like, I love it. And you're like, I've never heard of it. And I was like, what? That's even better.
I don't know what you're talking about, but okay. I haven't read the ACOTAR books yet.
I hear about a lot of spin-offs, yeah.
Well, maybe we can just keep Stay a Spell world alive for a while.
Just take all my money for all the stuff. Yes.
You're so sweet.
Already. Yeah. That's awesome. I'm just, they're so good.
Yeah.
They're so good. Okay, let's see. Did I skip any? Let's see if there are any more of. Well, then that must be, someone asked this question too. Another person did. So that must be.
Yeah.
That must be that one. And then this was from Jessen.
Savoir.
Wow.
Savoir sisters.
She said more than that. She was like, for the people not from the Cajun.
Yeah, the Savoir sisters. Yeah, I'm really anxious. I cannot wait for the audiobook. I'm anxious to hear like the characters and
I'm right. Thank you.
Aiden Snow is gonna be my man, so I'm dying. His sexy deep voice. Jeesh.
I'm so
for Raj and Mateo, I just like
audiobooks. Because you're new to audiobooks too, right? You haven't been listening to them a lot? Yeah. Mm-hmm. You just so Melissa, she has 4 books on audio.
So I'm sorry, Melissa just asked, are there the audiobooks are coming, yes. So they actually start recording March 1st for Wolf Gone Wild, and I'm assuming they're going to do the other one back to back. I don't have a release date, but that's going to be posted everywhere on Instagram and whatever. I'm assuming it's going to be May, June, because they had told me production from beginning to end is usually like 8 to 10 weeks. So let's hope, early summer, the audiobooks will be coming out, and I'm hoping for Witches Get Stitches, it will be much closer to release date than obviously these were. I sold the audio rights after I'd published these, so yeah.
And the Nightwing trilogy is on audio because I listen.
Yes. And book 1, Darkest Heart, Damiel, is in audio. You should try that one, Jen.
I'm gonna.
James Larceny is oh my god, his voice is sexy as fuck, y'all. As Damiel.
That was the only thing like missing for me in the other ones is that they had the same.
It's just the heroine. Yeah.
And I was like, ooh, but you're missing out on a sexy man voice for.
Yes. I agree with you.
You're so great.
I agree with you.
But once you have a hot male read a book to you, you don't want it any other way. I mean, unless you want the women too, that's fine. Yeah. But I
want the hero role. Yeah.
Like you have to listen to Cressley Cole now that you've listened to audio because you have to. Oh my god.
Yeah.
Look on audio. I could. Yeah, we won't. Yes, Tiffany.
That's so interesting. Yeah. I am. Oh, Mateo. Thank you, Crystal.
Yeah. So this was a question. She was like, all of us booktubers who love you, we're really happy to know how to say that now because I'm just been butchering it for every time I'm talking about it.
It's it's one of those French names, and it's so funny because when I first thought of it, I just liked Savoy Sisters, the way it sounded, the alliteration. I really love alliteration, and I figured that was probably an easier name to pronounce, but I'm from here, you know what I mean? So like what I think is easy is maybe not so easy for other people. I think Jess and I are even laughing about because I potentially am naming a new character with the last name Guidry, which is Guidry. And she's like, people are going to fuck that up. I'm like, Guidry? Like, really? She's like, oh yeah, they're going to pronounce it Guy-dry. And like, damn, because I'm trying to find the French names.
You just have to do what Serena Ackroyd did. Serena Ackroyd just puts them at the front, When we read Filthy, she was like, hey, this is how you say Afa. You're going to see it. Do it.
You're right. I need a little glossary.
Yeah.
You're right.
And it was her author's note, which was cute because she's like, I know you're all going to ask. This is how you say it. And I was like, you know it because I would have had no fucking idea how to say Afa. I was like, what is that
Gaelic name? Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Beautiful name, but I wouldn't have had any idea at all.
Yeah.
Okay, let's see. I still got some of these. Okay, here's some more writing ones. Who was your favorite character to write?
Oh my god. Who asked me this?
I think that was Jessen.
Jessen, Jesus Christ.
Like 7. So let me show you both of these because there's that one and who is the hardest. So there's like who's your hardest and who's your favorite. Are they the same or are they different?
I have lots of favorites. I would say recently my most favorite was Mateo and Alpha because I love the Jekyll and Hyde. When I was writing, I was laughing at myself at the shit Alpha would say because I'm like,
so great.
Like, he's such a like Neanderthal caveman, and it was so fun to just butt up against the nice guy and Mateo's a nice guy. He's like really a cinnamon roll guy,
Yeah.
So I would say that.
But Alpha's so sweet too. Like even though he's a dirty boy, he's also like, we're gonna make it real good.
Yeah. So I think that was fun to write. But heroine wise, honestly, my most favorite heroine I've written in a long time is Violet, which I just finished with. Well, I'm still editing with Witches Get Stitches. She's an unfiltered heroine, and I love writing heroines like that. I've only ever written another heroine like that, which is Sorsha or Sorka, however you want to pronounce her name. I honestly pronounce it both. In Windburn, she's very like, I don't give a fuck. This is who I am, and I'm going to say what I want and do what I want. By the way, that was another one that had a totally different intro scene that the publisher made me change, and Jessen was furious about it. Furious. because it was much steamier and I had to take it out. But anyway, because it was too rapey, whatever. But
What?
I know. But Violet's a lot like her. She's very, look, I know.
She said that like 10 years ago.
That scene with the desk, he did not end it with a kiss. Like he had her on that desk and like chapter 2 or 3 or whatever it was. And it was damn hot, but I had to change it. That sucks. But anyway.
To be with them because y'all, if you haven't read her sex scenes yet, you need to do it. It needs to happen. Seriously, the Nightwing okay, guys. The heartstrings, the heartbound, like Tiffany, back me up here. It is the most romantic thing ever. It's fantastic. Like, I love that shit so much.
Even like the Soulfire and Heartbound thing. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. It's so beautiful.
I'm glad you like that. That's my Fated Mates thing. I love it. I love that. I love writing that in these books. So yeah, that's really I could change it back, but that would require more editing on my part. And I'm just kind of
we want you to finish the Stay a Spell series first. And then you can fix those things. Like
yeah. I have so much else to do. I'm just gonna let it. Yeah, it was the desk scene. That black marble desk was damn.
Or
you can find the cut.
Yeah, I was like, you should release those on your Patreon or something. That's what you should do.
You know what? I think I am. I'm gonna go back and find that scene. I'm gonna have to go find like one of the first edits. I can totally do that.
Do that.
Yeah.
Yep.
Tiffany.
So we said your favorite. Which one was the hardest?
That's pretty easy. Recently, I mean, I'm thinking of recent reads because it's hard to go way back all the way to the beginning.
Right.
But Isadora.
I know these ones the best as well. Like just being like, I didn't even know that you had so many books until like I knew we were going to be interviewing, and so I went back. And I mean, you kind of told me where to start too. You're like, don't go all the way back. Start here.
Yeah, wait. I'm trying to get my rights back on the Vessel trilogy, and I'm going to steam up some of those sex scenes. But anyway, so wait for that. But the hardest character was Isadora for sure. Isadora is an introvert, and I'm not an introvert. And thankfully, my partner in crime, Jenn, is. So I had to interview her and say, okay, so what would happen if Isadora, how would she feel if this happened? Because there's a difference, and I knew this going in because I know Jenn. Jenn is not shy at all. She is not like meek or mild in any remote way, but she's definitely an introvert. And so there's a difference. I think a lot of people think that, all introverts are little timid little angels or whatever. I'm like, that's not Isadora. She just wants you to stay the fuck away from her. She's not a people person. She only likes to hang with the people she wants to hang with. And so when I first wrote Isadora, I didn't get it right. And that was another thing I didn't get right. I had to go back and do a lot of rewriting and not changing her character, but fleshing out her character to be more realistic and more true to what I had wanted. And so that was hard. That was very difficult for me. Don't Hex and Drive was a very difficult book to write. I was also writing during COVID. Like, honestly, right when COVID hit, it all started back in, I was writing from March through the whole like shebang, when we were all dealing with all this bullshit. And so it's like I had a lot of factors pummeling me with that. But I have to say, I had to work my ass off on that book, and I'm very proud of it. I love the characters. I love that she was a little harder to get for Devraj, and he had to work a little bit harder to get her. But there was no doubt, obviously, it's a romance. He was going to get her, and she was going to appreciate him besides his sexual skills. But yeah, so that's definitely, and that's what's so funny is like Violet is so easy for me to write. And I think that's why I'm enjoying it, because she's like a 180, like what she thinks of the craziest, most outlandish things. And I fucking love it. It makes me happy and giggle at the stupid shit she thinks of. And I hope y'all love her too.
Yay, I'm so excited. Let's see. And I love how you said Deborah doesn't care. He was King Papa.
That's right. He was. He was going for her.
That's fair, Justin. That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that I could see that because having like talked with Justin so much, I wouldn't have thought she was an introvert either. But like introvert doesn't have to do with your personality. It's how you relax. Like it's how you regain.
It's how you process the world, you know?
Yeah. Well, and that's why, like for me, I mean, like side note for like Jen's sad life sometimes is like I live alone with no pets in a city far away from my families and not able to go see my friends for a year. And I'm an extrovert, and physical touch and quality time. Those are all the things that make me me.
Yeah, I can totally see that 100%. You are very much an extrovert.
Yeah. So it's just like, I mean, if I didn't have like a book community and friends that way, I literally could understand why people would off themselves. And I don't say that lightly because I don't mean it as a joke. There are people really struggling with mental health right now because even people who think that they're like going to be okay with it were not meant for this extended period. There's a reason why people on a deserted island go crazy because you're not meant
exactly
to be yourself for that amount of time. It's just not meant to happen. But
exactly. Yes.
Anyway. This was also Justin, so I claim
Pick one to do for the rest of your life, read or write. You are such a witch. So
Justin, what means you're on? Isn't she love you?
So it would definitely be write. I can tell you that writing is right, exactly. And I'm kind of like Justin. I'm kind of borderline. Sometimes I have to just be alone too. I think we all have that time. We need to recharge for sure. I would say write because like I said, I'm going to go back a little ways. My 10th grade English teacher asked us to write a short story in class. I still don't remember what I wrote, what the short story is about, but I do remember the feeling I had when I was writing it. And it was the first teacher who actually asked us to do anything creative. And I was just like shocked face. What are you shocked about, Jessin?
She thought you'd pick a different choice, I think.
No, it would be right.
Right.
But I mean, just because, I need to write. And I went a long time in my life where I wasn't writing. Like even when I was teaching, I actually used to write. I used to write the vocabulary. I would write stories for the vocabulary words, and I would fill in blanks for the vocabulary words. And the kids always they would love them because they got these stories that I would write. But it was my outlet for creative writing because I, wasn't writing yet. I wasn't writing books, but I was writing with my students, and I was writing like little short stories with them and stuff like that. But I know that the happiest I've been in my life is when I'm actively writing. The saddest times of my life, I'm not writing. And so I know it's a compulsion I need. And that's one thing that always kind of strikes me as strange when I see writers who are like, oh, I'm just not going to write anymore. I'm just going to stop writing. And I'm like, how do you fucking stop writing? What do you mean you're going to stop writing? Are you a writer? And so to me, it's like, there's a difference between somebody who's writing for fun and writing like just to like, or make money or try out this publishing thing. For me, writing is a compulsion, just like artists who create art, paint, who paint paintings, they need to paint. It's not something they can just turn off. And that's the same for me. If I did not have a place to, and now it's like I need to also share these stories. So I need to write novels. I need to publish because all of that fills me in a way that, it just fills my creative need. And that's all I can say,
Yeah. This is why I feel the same way as this. I can't stop reading long enough to write something, but I understand what you're saying. I'm just opposite. Yeah. I feel like I could never write stories as good or as amazing as what other people write. So I would,
Well, you say that. You don't know that. You haven't tried yet. I'm just saying.
For publishers, I definitely I said I definitely wouldn't be safe for publishers.
Yeah, well, you'd be an indie author. There's lots of those.
Maybe I'll like do a challenge one day and like write one sentence every day.
You need to challenge yourself to just write a novella, like go something short, like, you know, or a little short story.
Right. Again, I mean,
yes.
Yeah. All right. Let's see. Which of your worlds would you like to live in?
That's pretty easy. Stay a spell world. It's fun. Yeah. I love writing in this world because I love like hanging out in my mind in that world. It makes me happy. It makes me feel good. My other worlds are way too fucking dark.
Right. Like, I was gonna say that world's mostly this world, but there's super hot vampires and werewolves. Like,
yeah, like I don't want to live in a place where like, yeah, you know,
there's like blood sacrifices, virgin sacrifices happening in one of them, and I'm like,
it's dangerous to be a human. It's dangerous to be a human in the Morgan world, and I've got an apocalyptic world, and then the angels and demons. Yeah, that's all too heavy. That's too heavy. So stay a spell for sure. Because actually, and I love, and Justin and I have been lamenting the fact that we can't go to New Orleans because everything's closed still right now. Because it's such a cool place. The Lower Garden District it's very different from the French Quarter. Everybody thinks of going to New Orleans and hanging out in the French Quarter, and that's all great, and it's fun, and it's cool, and whatever. But it's not the same as hanging out in the Lower Garden District, which is much more where residential people hang out, and it's trendy and cool and fun, and you know, I could totally see myself living there for real, you know, and living there with witches and werewolves and grims and vampires. That would be even more fun.
I'd love it. Yeah. Well, I'm definitely coming there once I can travel again. I've like told Justin this, so I'm out there. 2020.
We will 100% meet you down there. Yes.
Oh, it would be amazing. It would be amazing. All right.
Well, since I just finished with Nico, I'm going to say werewolves. But I love the vampire bite. Is there something about like the vampire bite during sex that is so hot? Why is that so hot, y'all? Why is it hot to be bitten by a vampire while you're having sex with him? I don't know. I don't know. But the werewolves are like so like super, super alpha and animalistic during sex. And Nico's way more dominant than I thought he was going to be. So that's been fun.
I love it. Oh my God. I just love it. All right. Well, you guys, if you have more questions, throw those up. I'm going to ask her a couple of my own because that's the rest of the banner ones I have, but you guys can throw up some. We'll go for maybe like 15 more minutes. Does that sound good?
Yeah.
I wanted to ask what your favorite dark romances are you've been reading. As well as some fantasy romance recommendations. Like we'll do some recommendations for both. Sense.
Okay, so favorites. Yeah. Agreed. Ugh, the neck kisses. Ugh.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I'm gonna agree with that. So my favorite dark romance that I read recently was Untouchable by Sam Marino. And it's super dark. It's like if you have any triggers, don't read it.
Stay far away. I don't have any triggers, and I'm still like, how did I read that?
I don't either. And I was like, did he just fucking do that? Did that just happen? He's the hero. How is this working? How is this happening? Look, Betty, she's still like all snuggled up. I would say also I love dark mafia romance. I really love, what was Nino's book? The Vengeance? What's it called?
It's Twisted Emotions.
Twisted Emotions.
Blood Vengeance in the book. So
Twisted Emotions. I'm thinking of Growl's book too.
Yeah.
So Twisted Emotions, that's the Kimura Chronicles, Dark Mafia. I love Nino's because I just loved, he was like the non-emotional one, and him like coming out with his emotions. That sounds weird, coming out with his emotions, but kind of was. And just learning to feel for Kiara and everything. It was so good. I love that book a lot. So that one, and then I love Growl and Kara's as well. I thought that book had a few more issues. It should have been longer, and Kara was making mistakes some of Cora Riley's heroines make for me, which is they're like too stupid to live moves. You know, like why are you?
The Born in Blood series, the heroines more likely than not are pretty. But in Cora Chronicles, they mostly. Yes, decisions in that one.
I agree.
Yeah. Twisted Cravings comes out in a month from Tuesday.
Damo's book.
Yeah.
I know what you'll be doing.
Did you know his heroine's name yet, or did you like not look?
No, I don't know. It's not on one of the. Wait, it's not one of the hookers, is it?
It's Russian.
Ooh.
Well,
that'll be interesting.
That's all I'll say because they don't want to know anything but. His heroine's last name is Russian, so what's that mean?
Yeah.
So excited. And then by the end of the year, we're supposed to get the first Sins of the Father book too. So that's gonna be the kiddo.
Yeah, that'll be good. That'll be good. Yes.
Seriously, if like Luca's daughter and Ramo's son, if that like, I think that's supposed to be a thing, rumored, and I'm just like hot sweats. Thinking about it.
I'm actually, I love Ramo's book as well. Like I loved his book as well. I mean, I just like Nino's. Yeah, exactly.
He didn't grovel enough for you, right? He needed to grovel more for her.
I needed more groveling. Nino Falcone to me was like perfect. He was just, he was perfect.
Well, he didn't fuck up in any way. So he didn't need about anything. Like Ramo needed to grovel for this one.
Yeah, and I don't mind when my guys fuck up. Like honestly, you know, they can be flawed. I like when there's some flaws, but I just need them to fucking apologize, you know, to the girl they're in love with, instead of making excuses. So
there's just this thing like I've noticed with Cora Riley too is I love her book so much. When she does it right, they're my favorite books. And when it's wrong, like Savio's book, did you read it? I don't think you read Twisted
Heart. Didn't read that one. No.
Like, I'm like, what is this book, woman? Like you just wrote Twisted Emotions, Twisted Pride, and Twisted Bonds. And then you wrote Twisted Hearts?
Yeah. I hate to say it, but Justin kind of told me about that book and I was like, I'm not going to read
it. No. Neither the hero nor the heroine are smart. Like, Emma's not smart either. I think it's Gemma, whatever her name is. She's not smart, and then Savio's a douchebag. Yeah. So I'm like,
9.5 times out of 10. If Justin loves a book, I'm gonna love it. So when she says that was a big no for her, I was like, okay, so I'm not bothering. I'm not gonna waste my time.
Yeah.
Serafina.
Yeah. That's Ramo's heroine.
Yeah. Why couldn't I like that name wasn't ringing a bell? So sad. Yeah. I agree, Tiffany. Like I really loved her. And that's what made me angry is that she was so badass and awesome. And I think Ramo needed to apologize rather than saying, I set you free. I set you like, look, douchebag, you shunned her and threw her away. You didn't just set her free. Ugh. Anyway, okay, I'm not gonna get angry about that.
No, it's good. But I that book for me, especially once you read Dante's second book, and you see that scene with Serafina from his point of view, she's even more of this like the bravery that it takes.
That was a great hero.
Yeah, like he does give her that bravery, like. It works for me because we see him crumpled on the floor. Yeah. Just like, you're here to finish me off now. And she's just like, nope, I'm about to change your damn life. So
that was good. That was a good scene. And that's one, like, I still love that book. Yeah. But there were things I needed him to do to be like in my top, you know, that's why Nino beat him out for me, book boyfriend wise. So
yeah. So good. So good. Okay. So some fantasy romance recommendations. Let's do a couple of those. I know I was saying characters that you like, but I didn't necessarily say all the books. So for our viewers, what are some favorites?
Oh, wait. So I'm sorry. Say again.
some favorite fantasy romance books.
Fantasy romance. I'm sorry. I'm looking at looking at comments. Favorite fantasy romance. Definitely Amanda Boucher's Promise of Fire series. If you've not read that, it's so good. Amanda Boucher is excellent at getting like full balance. Do you know what I'm saying? Where there's humor, there's alpha male, there's mystery, there's good sex scenes. Like, I love that. Have you read that series yet?
Yeah, the Promise of Fire ones.
Yeah.
I know what the was. You wanted to kill him.
I didn't want to. You made me. Cruel witch.
He is the perfect alpha for me too. Like I loved that one. Like tied together, and when she's invisible, and then just
and he can sense her. Oh God, it's so good.
Because I was just talking to who was like, I don't like the part where like he gets a little rough with her during this one thing, and I was like, yeah,
we're like, yeah, we like him getting rough with her.
Yeah, when they have angry sex, I'm confused why this is wrong. Because for me, okay, random side note. For me, the fact that it's already set up how much he loves her, like we watch his devotion the whole way through. So these two having angry sex together, it's not like a random woman he's pissed at and is doing this to. It's his woman who made him mad, and he's like, I just have so much sexual feelings.
Yeah. Look, I'm here for the angry sex scenes. I'm 100% for that.
When people don't have angry sex at all, I'm like, what are you for? I don't know.
Some of us are just a little bit kinkier.
Yeah. I'm like, just pretend you're angry. Like, don't you ever just pretend you're angry so you can have angry sex? You don't
role play. Let's role play the angry boss, and I need to be spanked over the desk. We can totally do that.
I want it to happen.
Sorry. Back to fantasy romance.
Yep.
I'm gonna say also, A Heart of Blood and Ashes by Mila Vane is 100% one of the best fantasy romances I've ever read in my entire life.
Yeah. We're big fans.
It was every single thing that I love about fantasy romance was in that book. Like, I want to be like, okay, fantasy romance writers, this is how you do it. This book right here. You know, like I loved it. So there's those. And when I think fantasy romance, I'm thinking like, you know, high fantasy type stuff. I enjoy Beck McMaster's. Yeah, same. Me either, Jason. I'm not a dainty flower. Spank my ass. Thank you. Anyway, there is some spanking in Witches Get Stitches.
I hope so. Yeah. Nobody does spanking anymore. Like, come on.
It's a good kink. Sorry, I got distracted by spanking.
I know.
What was I saying?
You're saying Beck McMaster?
Oh, Beck McMaster. I really enjoy her stories. Jess and I don't think got into the steampunk series as much as I did. Kiss of Steel, but I really enjoyed those. I like her style. She definitely has the good hard-edged alpha males and tough heroines, you know, that are smart, you know. So I like a lot of hers, and she recently came out with a Fae series. Promise of Darkness is book 1. I've not read book 2 because I know there's a huge cliffhanger, so I'm waiting for book 3 to come out so I can read those back to back. I can't do cliffhangers anymore. It just makes me angry. So I get ragey. So I need the other book like right away.
Yeah, but I like series that are more than one book about the same couple. So
right, and that's what this one is. Yeah. And I think Beck McMaster is really good at emotional pulls, and her world building is just stellar. So I think she's one of the underrated fantasy romance authors. I was actually, I'm going to recommend she come on with FaRoFeb next year because she needs to, because she's just really good. So I think those are my top ones I can think of.
Nice. All right. Anything else you've read lately that's been good? Otherwise, we'll. I mean, I pretty much know everything you read, so this is. Well,
I will say I'm enjoying. I read Clean Sweep, and we just recorded the podcast for that. That's the Innkeeper Chronicles. Now it's like like I said, like the first one, there's not really any romance, but it's a slow burn over the series. But the world building Ilona Andrews does is insanely. I just think that Ilona Andrews, their team, they are the most imaginative writers I've seen. You know what I'm saying? Like the worlds they come up with are just fascinating to me. So yeah, so I've read that. And I think that's it. I've had a few, not duds recently, but I'm like in stasis. So that's why I went to a comfort read. I just went back to Lisa Kleypas, and now I'm feeling recharged to be adventurous and go back and try something new now.
Yeah. I love going back to a favorite, like here, even if I see scenes from the book, sometimes that helps me.
Yeah.
Because I just need the extra hug.
Oh my God. Yes. Should do a whole like show on just favorite rereads and why, you know.
What Harriet just asked again, who'd you say, Beth McMasters?
Oh, Beck McMaster. Oh, I forgot Harriet's still here.
Yeah. Put the kiddos to bed, she said, but she wants to know.
Yeah, Beth McMaster, she's Australian. She has so many different series, but her steampunk, she does so much. Like she has so many different ones. Even her apocalyptic one with the weird werewolves was so cool. She's just really good. She's really good. And she's super nice too. So I'm sure she'd probably love to join us next year for sure.
Yeah.
So
that's awesome. Well, thank you so much for being here. This was so much fun.
You're welcome. Thank you for having me.
Yeah. I'm going to go ahead, guys, and end the broadcast. Juliette, just wait right here while we do this, and then we'll close it out. But yeah, guys, thank you so much for showing up. Harriet, thank you so much for setting up FaRoFeb. This has been amazing. Guys, just in case you were wondering, this is the book we've been talking about the whole time. Just in case you aren't sure. Oh, wait, I have Deborah's over here too. These are delightful. They're still on Kindle Unlimited, right?
Yes, they are.
These are Unlimited.
Yeah, for now.
Yeah, for now, but the covers. So anyway, thank you all for joining us so much, and we'll see you at some more events for the next couple of weeks.
Bye.